After arriving at Tazuna's home, Kakashi would spend the first day incapacitated. Naruto, Sasuke, and Kori waiting for their master to awaken from his slumbering state, still exhausted from his battle against Zabuza. Of course, the three genin would stay on guard, not knowing if more enemies were going to strike and not sure from where they would appear. However, Kakashi would be on the mend, albeit he'd have to use crutches for a brief time. In the meanwhile, as he had awoken, he began to deduct the events that had transpired in order to plan out their next move. Of course, on the surface, you would think their troubles were over. After all, Zabuza was supposedly dead, right? However, that was only to the untrained eye. In truth, Kakashi suspected that what had happened was merely a ruse, that the masked shinobi, if following protocol for dealing with a rogue ninja, should have disposed of Zabuza's body immediately once he arrived, but instead he took it off to another location. Now sure, this was something that might be overlooked, but Kakashi reasoned that the masked shinobi and Zabuza were in all likelihood working together, and that once Zabuza had healed from his wounds, he'd be back to finish the job. Based off of the damage that he took in the fight, Kakashi estimated they had around 2 weeks' time, little over 14 days, give or take a day or two. Of course, Tazuna and his family were worried upon hearing this. The idea of a dangerous shinobi still being alive and potentially coming back to finish the job that he was assigned to didn't fill them with a boat of confidence. But even still, Kakashi guaranteed that things would be fine, because for now, Team 7 were going to have to train. He took them out to a forest where the trees reached high into the sky. He would comment on the fact that under normal circumstances, Sasuke and Kori had means of subverting this common trope, but even still, this training was important, and as such, they were forbidden from having the ability to fly, or using flight to their advantage, especially Kori, since she might give off the illusion of doing the exercise, but Kakashi would be able to tell if she was performing it right or wrong. He would demonstrate, as, using his crutches, he would begin to walk up the side of the tree. They were in amazement at how he was able to do this, sticking to the side of the tree, some wondering if he had something made on his shoes or something like that. Kakashi would tell them that this was to perfect their chakra control. Focusing chakra to their feet, it would allow them to walk up surfaces at a vertical angle, or horizontal, however it may be, anything off the ground. With much better chakra control, it would improve their ninjutsu and strengthen them tenfold. Of course, there were a learning curve that would come with this. If you applied too little chakra, you wouldn't stick to the tree at all. Too much, you might end up shooting yourself off the side of the branch. All the same, each of the genin had their own struggles to overcome, their strengths and weaknesses when it came to performing the tree climbing exercise. Of course, for Kori, chakra control was an area where she wasn't at her best. She had a tendency not to either use too much or use too little. Sasuke had the closer idea of figuring it out. For Naruto, though, Naruto just stood there. He didn't try the exercise. Kakashi wondered what was keeping his blonde-haired student, and he asked him. Naruto would explain that he was going to try it, but he had to feel something. Naruto closed his eyes and stood completely still, Kakashi wondering what the young boy was up to. Eventually, Naruto, while his eyes were still closed, would approach the tree. Placing one foot upon the trunk, he would begin to make his way up the side of the tree. Both Corey and Sasuke would be amazed at this, at just how well Naruto was doing it. Naruto just kept his eyes closed. He wasn't just focusing his chakra. He was trying to become still. It was something that Naruto noted. Whenever he stood completely still, when he cleared his mind and when he truly focused, a sensation washed over him. A sensation that started at the tip of his head and washed all the way down to the tips of his toes. He felt as though he were connected, not just with his chakra, but with nature, as if all of it was around him. Of course it was, but in the sense that if it were just for a fleeting moment, it felt like perfect synergy, as if he had become one with the world itself. For some, this feeling was hard to explain, but it gave Naruto almost a sense of euphoria. Of course, it wasn't something he could maintain for long. It came in spurts. But still, for the briefest of moments, Naruto felt as though the entire planet was at his whim. As if with the mere snap of a finger, he could make every tree sprout from underground. As if he could make the cherry blossoms bloom on command. As if he could make the grass rise and bow down to him. For a brief moment, Naruto felt as though he had become one with the earth itself. A peace, a tranquility that just washed over him in a way that no other feeling could possibly match. For Naruto, he wondered if this was the power of the tailed beast inside of him. And even so, how much more could it offer? All the same, it helped with his chakra control. He didn't feel a disturbance within himself, and as such, he was able to get it faster than most. It was Corey and Sasuke who would be working at it to the ends of the night. Of course, Sasuke never thought much of this exercise. While he was able to see the gains, even in the back of his mind, he still thought to himself he could fly if necessary. But as Kakashi said, this would be the next step, a way of taking his training to the next level. As for Corey, she was as stubborn as a bull, continuing to charge at the tree over and over again. If Sasuke were like a river, Corey was a raging inferno, living up to that nickname, Starfire. She burnt brightly like a star, but she was as wild as a fire itself, just waiting to incinerate everything in her path. Because Naruto took to the tree climbing exercise so well, he would spend his time with Kakashi, and if not doing that, he would be guarding Tazuna on the bridge. It was during that time that a boat would arrive. A young man would appear wearing glasses. Naruto could see that the blue-haired boy carried a large covered sword on his back. At first, Naruto became startled because he saw on the boy's chest a similar forehead protector to the one Zabuza carried. Naruto would stay quiet, hoping not to draw attention to himself. He waited for the young man to walk past and allowed him to disappear from sight. As the young man made his way down a foresty trail, hoping that the leads would prove to be correct, or maybe incorrect because he wasn't really looking for much of a fight, he would stop. He stood completely still, the sound of the forest being surprisingly empty and silent. "I know you're there. No point in hiding. You should show yourself, Shinobi." Naruto would appear behind him. "A shinobi of the leaf. And I take it you're of the mist? At least, that's all I can judge for now." "And what's that supposed to mean?" "The last time I came into contact with the Mist Shinobi, it didn't go so well." "Wait, you came into contact with another Mist Shinobi? Who was it? What did they look like?" "A guy named Zabuza. Zabuza? You ran into Zabuza? Yeah. Why? Do you know him? He's the guy I'm looking for. Why? Are you working with Zabuza? Are you also after Tazuna the bridge builder? What? Bridge builder? No. I'm trying to bring him in. He's a rogue ninja. Naruto stayed on guard. What? I have to be cautious. The last time someone said that, they ended up being an accomplice. A young man wearing a mask, claiming to be a hunter ninja from the mist. I see. So Zabuza has an ally. And it seems like he's running a con on you. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I promise you, I'm not working with Zabuza. I can't really just go off of a promise. What's your name? You know, it's usually customary to give your name first. I'm Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. I'm Chojo. Chojo of the Hidden Mist. And one of the members of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. Well, the only member right now. The only member? Chojo would explain who the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist were. Well, who they used to be. Most of the swordsmen had either died, gone missing, or gone rogue. That was already bad enough, but now they had the legendary swords with them, and Zabuza carried one of those swords, the Executioner's Blade, the Blade of Blood. Chojo was tasked with scouting the area because they had gotten reports that Zabuza was somewhere in the vicinity. But, now having confirmation of it, Chojo wasn't sure of what to do next. He could probably go back to the Mist, get some recruits, then come back here, but even still, that would probably take too much time. And after hearing the reports of what Naruto and the others had learned, by the time he managed to get to the Mist and get back, things could have already been too late. The battle might already occur, Zabuza might already be gone. He would either just barely make it in time or miss them all entirely, one way or another. This left Chojo in a tough bind, not sure of what to do next. If what you say is true, I don't have time to get to the village and back. Look, will you allow me to meet with your sensei? I promise you, I'm on the up and up. Here, you can even carry my sword if you don't trust me. Naruto was cautious, but he would take the sword, holding it in hand. They would eventually arrive and meet with Kakashi. Kakashi surprised to see Naruto holding one of the legendary 7 swords of the mist, the Hirame Kare, to be specific. Kakashi would speak with Chojo, discerning the boy's intentions, and he was able to deem that the boy was not lying. That's a relief, Chojo would say. I didn't think you'd have the legendary Kakashi, the copy ninja, on your team. I have no intentions on trying to fight you. Neither do I. I'm actually grateful for your arrival, Chojo. It would be of great assistance to know how to fight against someone like Zabuza. You have the inside information. I'm sorry, but I think you misunderstand. I'm simply after Zabuza and the sword. I mean, if our alliance is built solely on us not turning on one another, then that's fine, but I don't wish to divulge too much information to you. My village still has secrets that they have to protect. Understandable. However, I can say, for as skilled as Zabuza is, the 7 swords of the mist, out of all of them, the Executioner's Blade is usually on the lower side of things. Although, with him being as proficient as he is, he's not someone to be taken lightly. But even still, they sent you on ahead? I'm surprised they didn't send a team with you. Yeah, well, there's no point in sending a team if you don't know what's going to happen. It just devalues the manpower and you end up on a wild goose chase for something that might not be real. But this is. And well, now I don't really have much of a choice. I can't afford to go back to the mist and try to come back here. Based off the timetable you've given, I won't make it in time. The only thing I can do now is wait for Zabuza to return. I can take him down. I would like to bring him in peacefully, but I doubt that's going to be an option, which means I might just have to take him down myself. But if it means we get the executioner's blade back, that's all that's important. And as for this masked ninja, we don't have any records of one fighting with Sinbon. If I had to take a guess, I would assume that this masked shinobi is someone Zabuza met, and they've just been working together ever since. But even still, we can't have someone impersonating a hunter ninja from our village, so, if possible, I'll have to bring this other individual down also. You won't be alone, Naruto would say with a smile. We'll be there to help you. Thanks, I appreciate it. But even still, Zabuza's called the Demon of the Mist for a reason. He's not someone to be taken lightly. And even more so, when he survived the near-death experience, trust and believe, he learned from it. And when he comes back, he'll really be prepared. Kakashi and the others would take this in mind. By the time Kori and Sasuke returned, they would also be introduced to Chojo and be brought up to speed. Now, with extra hands on board, it made guarding Tazuna a lot easier. Since Kori and Sasuke would still be training, Kakashi, Chojo, and Naruto would guard the bridge builder. Of course, they would swap out from time to time, Sasuke and Kori respectively. Sometimes Naruto would assist with Kori while she trained, or he would just watch Sasuke while he trained. On the one day in particular with Sasuke was having a bit of a rough go at it, although he had made tremendous progress. You're tempted to fly, aren't you? Naruto would say. It's an instinct I have to fight. Your wings, oh. I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't have asked. It's alright. I don't mind. They're cool. Well, that's a first. How did you... were you born with them? I was. I got them from my mother. Your mom had wings? Was she an angel or something? To me, at least. My mom was... She'd be something that even the angels would have to mar in their beauty. Although her wings came out as a pristine and beautiful white, mine's come out a dark and tarry black. They pale in comparison. She never sprouted them much, but the few times I watched her fly in the air, her wings, the way they glistened off of the sun, they were truly extraordinary. I wish I could have had wings like hers, instead of what I ended up with. I think she'd be happy about your wings. They're different, but they're still your own. They're cool. At least they are to me. Sasuke? Who is the man you want to kill? Sasuke would ignore the question. It wasn't something he wanted to answer, and even still, he wasn't going to give Naruto that answer. The only thing he could say for certain is that the man he wanted to kill was someone that had wronged him in the worst way possible, who robbed him of everything. For him, vengeance was the only path. There was no other way. Meanwhile, Naruto would also join Kori whenever she trained. She also was making progress to the top, although the temptation to fly would often get the best of her. Kori would ask Naruto for advice, and Naruto gave her practical steps to figuring it out. Slowly but surely, she was making pace, getting better as time went on. One day, though, Naruto would be in the forest by himself. As he was, he would come across someone, He couldn't tell if it was a boy or a girl, although the person definitely had a more feminine charm, to say the least. The person was gathering herbs. Naruto would point out where some of the good ones were. It was just something he was able to spot, with him being a plant guy and all. The stranger would thank him. He would even have Naruto help him out, after Naruto was able to deduce that this was indeed a boy, despite the looks. They would pick herbs and other plants in silence before finishing. "Thank you. You've been a big help." "Oh, it was nothing. I was just in the area. Didn't really have anything else to do for the day." "That headman. I take it you're a shinobi?" "Yep, I am." "You must be pretty strong." It comes and goes. I really wouldn't have a way of knowing." "A shinobi of your caliber? You sound wise. Why did you become a shinobi?" "Honestly, I'm not sure." "You're not sure? No one becomes a ninja for no reason." "But that's just the thing. I went to the academy, I've trained, I've become a ninja, but even I don't know why I am. I don't know what even being a shinobi really entails. Does it just involve doing missions, serving your village? I mean, I have no reason not to, no different than anyone else that's laid down their lives before me. I'm proud to serve my village, although I can't really say I have a motivation." "A ninja without a motivation," the stranger would say. "That is truly fascinating. Not something I expect to hear from a shinobi. Although, I can't say I'm surprised. Most ninja in the world never really have a goal or a path. They merely go with the flow of things. I feel like that's how shinobi have always been, and maybe that's how they'll always be. But I like to think," the stranger would trail off, "I like to think that maybe there could be a different way. Well, at the very least, there should be a choice." Naruto would agree with this. Even if you don't have a purpose, maybe you don't need one. As long as you're able to protect those who are closest to you, isn't that all you need? Naruto would agree with that statement. After all, he had his squad, he had Kakashi Sensei, and he had his home. If that was all the motivation he needed to be as strong as he possibly could, then maybe that was good enough. Just to be strong enough to protect what you value most. "But what do you value most?" Naruto would ask. "I have a friend. Someone who's looked after me my whole life. They've all I've ever known, and I'm really grateful for them. So much so that I would protect them by any means, even if it cost me my life." "I see. Your friend must really mean a lot to you." "He does. More than I think anyone could ever know. Helping him, it makes me happy. Even if I never have a dream of my own, knowing that I was able to help my friend, it's more than enough for me." The stranger would bid Naruto farewell, preparing to leave. However, once far enough away though, but still within earshot. "You're the masked ninja, aren't you?" "I was wondering if you were going to tell." "So, is this the part where we fight to the death?" "No, of course not. There's no mask. You're simply a civilian picking herbs. I have no reason to fight you." "I see. powerful and wise. But even still, this may be your only chance to catch me one-on-one. What will you do when the time comes? I don't know. If I'm being honest, I really hope it wouldn't come to that. Well, unfortunately, our hopes and dreams never quite go the way they plan. You should know, Naruto would say, I care about my friends too. I have no intentions on letting them die. And I care about my master, and I have no intentions on letting him die. When the time comes, may the best ninja win. Agreed. Goodbye, Naruto. I am afraid that the next time we meet, it may be on the battlefield as enemies. If I am to take your life, then please know it wasn't personal. And you should know, if I take your life, I feel exactly the same. With that, the stranger would disappear, and Naruto would return home. He wouldn't tell them what happened or what he had experienced. In the end, there was no reason to. One way or another, things would be settled. In the meanwhile, while being guests at the bridge builder Tazuna's home, one person in particular did not enjoy entertaining the shinobi. The grandson, Inari. He didn't take too kindly to Naruto and his team or to Chojo. The way they talked, the way they acted, as if they were all high and mighty. Things came to a boiling point during dinner when Naruto and the others had discussed their training for the day, Corey talking about just how good she had gotten and how next time things would be different. Inari would simply scold them. They talked about fighting as if it were just some game, as if things were that simple. Ninjas parading around pretending to be heroes. Well, there were no true heroes. No real heroes in this world. No. He at once believed in heroes. One in particular, his own father. And he watched him get executed on the stake. Cut down like a wild animal. Humiliated, battered, beaten. His arms crushed and torn off of either one of his shoulders. He was paraded around as a fool. And now even more insulting, these outsiders who knew nothing about the struggle they had gone through, acting as if they could just change everything. Just who in the hell do you think you are? Inari's mother would reprimand the boy, but he would just stand in anger. You're not heroes. None of you are heroes. Got those thugs. They're too strong. If you try to go against them, you'll die. Speak for yourself, kid, Corey would say. I have no intentions on dying. But if you have that defeatist attitude and want to give up, then be my guest. It ain't my stinking home. I don't care. Then why don't you just leave? No one asked you to be here anyway. Inari would just run off in anger. However, before he could get too far, Corey would catch his attention. I guess that's all you're good at, huh? Running away like a coward? What? I heard about your father. He was more of a hero than you'd ever be. Honestly, he'd probably be ashamed of the sniveling little bitch that's crying right in his own home. Corey, Kakashi would say. No, he needs to hear this. I didn't ask to be your hero. You know what? Let's just settle this right now. I don't need to be your hero. I'm here on a mission. That's to protect your grandfather, because apparently no one else in this village is going to. Gato employs common thugs, not ninja, and even so, I doubt they'd be so strong that you all couldn't stand up for yourselves. You want to talk down to us? Talk bad about us? Tell me something. When your father was hung up like an animal, getting butchered in front of the whole village, what did any of you all do? Did anyone even attempt to help him? No. You all stood there with your heads to the ground. None of you were even man enough to look him in the eyes. So, don't you dare talk down to me or my team. Because unlike you, we actually have the heart to put our lives on the line. Unlike you. Cory would leave the dinner table in anger and go walk to cool off. Inari, moved to tears, would just run off in the opposite direction. Kakashi would see Naruto leave as he went to go and talk to Inari. Naruto would go and console Inari, trying his best to help the boy to cope with what had happened. He understood that while Cory was indeed harsh and definitely could have toned it down a little, in the end, she was probably only so tough because she saw herself in him. Of course, for Inari, as he learned more about Naruto, about Cory, and about Sasuke, he would start to see them in a different light. They weren't so different after all, and yet, even still, they found a way to keep going. And Naruto believed that Cory felt the same way for Inari. But in order for him to move on, he couldn't keep living in the past. The only way for him to go was forward. And when the time came, his courage would come to him. He believed in him. And deep down, Cory probably believed too. And his father would believe in him also. That night, Cory would train. She trained over and over again, fueling herself, until eventually she was tired out. Naruto found her the next day, all tuckered from overexertion. He carried her back to Tazuna's residence, tucked her into bed, and made sure that she would get her breakfast, as Naruto, Sasuke, Chojo, and Kakashi would be accompanying Tazuna to the bridge. She seemed to overexert herself, Tsunami would say. Yeah, it's not surprising, Kakashi would chime in. But she has the stamina to do even greater things. But for today, I'm just going to give her the day off. If you need any help, I'm sure she'll assist. Oh, it's no problem at all. In fact, she's pretty beautiful, being as peaceful when she's asleep. I'm just going to let her get her rest. Thank you. I promise we won't keep you for too long. And when the day is over, we'll have your grandfather back home safe and sound. As Cory slept in, Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, and Chojo would arrive to the bridge along with Tazuna. However, much to their surprise, or rather to their horror, most of the other bridge builders were incapacitated, to say the least. And standing across on the other side stood three figures, Zabuza in the center. To his right, the masked ninja, and to his left, Kakashi couldn't believe it, and neither could Chojo. All of his instincts told him to flee, because if that was who he thought it was, this situation had turned into something far beyond what they could have been capable of dealing with. Just the masked ninja and Zabuza, that was one thing, but this was another level. Stay on guard and stay behind me. There's no way, Chojo would say. What's the matter, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto would ask. Who is he? Sasuke would ask as well. That's Kisame Hoshigaki. He too is a rogue shinobi from my village, Chojo would say, gripping onto his sword, his hand still trembling. He was prepared to just unsheath his regular katana. He wasn't prepared to use his own master sword. But with Kisame standing before him, the Hirame Kari would have to come into play. Gripping on the dual handles of the sword, he stood in determination as he yelled to the other side. So you're both working together, huh? Kisame? Zabuza? Chojo. Kisame would grin, a shark-like smile. It's been a while. I remember when you were nothing more but a young pup, and now it seems the boy has become a man. So, the village has sent you. You should have sent more. You have no right to talk after what you've done. You killed Fukugi. He was a traitor to begin with. A traitor killing a traitor makes no difference. Even still, you both must answer for your crimes. I'm only going to ask this once. Relinquish your swords and stand down. That's not going to happen, Chojo, Zabuza would say. Out of the respect that we have for you as a fellow shinobi and seven swordsmen of the mist, this is your only chance. You can turn away now and return to the village and forget you ever saw us. Or you can stay and suffer the consequences. I prefer you stay. It just means the village is gonna lose another sword. Naruto looked to the masked shinobi. The masked shinobi seemingly facing him as well. While no words were exchanged, they didn't need to be. The time for talk had long since passed. And now, the Battle of the Bridge was set to commence. This concludes Naruto King of the Beast. What if Naruto was Swamp Thing? Season 1, Part 5. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. That will be the Season 1 finale for Naruto King of the Beast. What if Naruto was Swamp Thing? Season 1, Part 6, the Season 1 finale. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.